Hey LCM community, I am back with our LCM Read series. We are still doing this. I know I'm a little bit late this week, but hey, I'm still here. I'm still showing up for you guys. As mentioned previously, we are still on the same book, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do. We have covered 5 chapters so far, so high five to you. Psh. And we are now moving on to chapter 6. Just a quick recap. These are 13 things that mentally strong people don't do. So far, we've covered 5. Don't waste your time feeling sorry for yourself. Don't give away your power. Don't shy away from change. Don't focus on things that you cannot control. Don't worry about pleasing everyone. And this week's chapter is all about taking risks. Taking risks. When is the last time that you took a risk? Take a moment. Do you take risks every day? Or are you hesitant about taking risks? This kind of goes hand in hand with shying away from change. But taking risks is a little bit different because you don't really know what to expect sometimes. But today I'm going to talk to you how you can minimize the risks and still take calculated risks. So the key here is to take calculated risks. Okay? So here's some things that people that struggle with taking risks have to look out for. Do you struggle to make important decisions in your life? We all have to do it. Do you spend a lot of time daydreaming about what you'd like to do, but you don't take any action? Do you sometimes impulsively make decisions because thinking about the decision is just too much anxiety for you? Do you think that you could be doing a lot more adventurous and exciting things in life, but you're scared? When you think about taking risks, do you usually only imagine the worst case scenarios and choose not to take the chance? Do you sometimes allow other people to make decisions for you so you don't have to make them? There are a lot of people like that. Do you avoid risks in at least some areas of your life, social, financial, or physical, because you're afraid? These are just some things that would signal that you have a problem taking risks, because taking risks is a part of growth. It's a part of something that we have to do in order to advance, right? Risks and changes go hand in hand. So then why do we avoid risks? Same thing. We're scared. We don't know what the outcome will be. Also, our emotions are very much involved when we think about taking risks. Like, you get nervous about certain things that don't make sense, because let's take, for example, someone that's scared to get on an airplane. What is the real risk in getting on an airplane? Statistics say that flying is safer than driving. So why are so many people afraid? Because they're not logical in their thoughts. They don't think about the risk fully. They are more emotionally invested. So in the end, they don't take the risk. I know quite a few people that will not get on an airplane. And so what happens is they're unable to travel or explore the world because of this unreasonable fear. Because there's the risks that you're taking every day equivalent to like a trip on an airplane. So if you think about that, it doesn't make sense. My personal example, I am scared of getting needles in my arm. I hate them. Just talking about it right now makes me a little queasy. But when I thought about it logically, I told myself, like, I have had children. I mean, in my field, I have gotten bitten and I did not react to it at all. So if I could do that, why am I so afraid of a little needle going in my arm? And I realized it's all in the mind. I mean, I'm still a little scared, but you know, sometimes you just have to face it. So that's the thing. We have to bring the logic to the emotional part of that risk. And we don't think about them. Like, you just somehow have this notion that you're scared to do something, and that's just what it is. Do you ever sit down and think about, well, why is it that I'm so scared to take this risk? It is important that we take time to really assess our, fears. And the problem with that is you don't get to be your true self when you are afraid of taking calculated risks. So in turn, you miss out on things, and you miss out on showing the world who you really are. What if you were a motivational speaker and you have to get to California? What are you going to do? I mean, sure, you could drive, but is that really efficient? Like, you're not going to get to the destination in time to show up. Like, there's so many things as a consequence when you decide not to take risks. What if you're supposed to open up a business, but you're scared because of the money, or if it's going to work out? Well, guess what? If you never take that risk, the world will never know what you're truly capable of. We need you to take those risks. So let's figure this out. Your emotions get involved. Talked about that. Calculate risks and reduce your fear. So if you sit down and really think about these risks in front of you, you're able to strategically line things up so that your fear of failure or your fear of it not being successful will decrease, because you have now spent time researching and really becoming logical about the risks that are in front of you. Don't think that your fear or your anxiety has anything to do with the outcome, because it does not. It's a totally separate thing. It's all in the mind. Just because you have a lot of anxiety doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I mean, something that we do a lot. I'm sorry, guys. Let me just get my thoughts together. So we are not always the best at calculating risks, because some of the mistakes that we might make is incorrectly judging how much control we have over a situation. The example they gave is, if you are driving in your car, you feel like you're not taking that much of a risk because you're in charge, right? Then sitting next in a passenger seat, the reality is the risk is the same. Like, so you think that you're not taking a big risk, but the reality is it's the same risk. Like, you could still get in a wreck. So you're still taking the risk, but it's just like your mind tricks you into thinking you have more control over a situation. Goes back to what you're in control of. And in reality, you don't have control. So then we overcompensate when safeguards are in place. Back to the same example, you have your seatbelt on, so you feel safe. So now you're willing to take more risks, right? Still, the risk is the same. You don't recognize the difference between skill and chance. What's the example they gave for that? The casinos. Somehow you think that you can win if you flip the handle the right way, or if you play it a certain amount of time. But the reality, it's still by chance. Same with the lottery. It's all by chance. And so as humans, our mind sometimes doesn't let us differentiate those two things, skill versus chance. We're also influenced by superstitious beliefs. Like, oh, I have to wear my lucky socks for this basketball game. That's how I always win. This is my lucky charm. Those are cool, and I feel personally they make like things more interesting, and we as humanity have things to like hold on to or make things more entertaining, I guess, for our humanity. But the reality is, it's not holding any weight, guys. It's just really not, if you think about it logically. And we often see a potentially large payoff when the reality is you probably won't ever win the lottery. You won't win the lottery. So you thinking you're taking a really good risk here. The reality is you probably won't win the lottery. I'm not here to deter anyone from trying, though. And then you just become comfortable with familiarity. So the more often we take the risk, the more we tend to miscalculate how big of a risk we're actually taking. So this might go hand in hand with drinking and driving. The first time you did it, you might have been scared as hell. You might have been like, oh my God, I'm gonna get caught. You got away with it. Tried it again, you got away with it. Now you're just doing this all the time, not even realizing that the risks you're taking are huge on this one. And you can get, your whole life can be destroyed. You can get a DWI, and that can affect all kinds of things. It can be just a domino effect. Speaking of which, we may be opening a DWI assessment clinic in the near future. So keep that in mind. Not saying that that should be something we're doing, but there are people that take these unnecessary risks because they've become so comfortable with that. And in turn, you don't even realize how big of a risk you're actually taking because you've gotten away with it so many times and it worked out in your favor. But please think about the risks you take every single day. They have to be calculated. You put a lot of faith in other people's abilities to perceive risk accurately. So you tell your friend that you're about to spend every single dime on, I don't even know, anything. And next thing you know, your friend is like, oh my God, yes. And so you almost like get riled up with that emotion, and you forget to think about, is this really a good decision? Because you done told everyone and they're all rooting for you. But in the reality is they're not concerned about your risk-taking abilities. They hear you, they see that you're excited, so they're just gonna jump on board. So it's kind of your responsibility to think it through and make it a calculated risk. And of course, social media and other types of news channels or whatnot, they give you a false perception on what types of risks you're taking. So how do you minimize the risks, right? And maximize success? Well, you need to really think it through. Like, what is it going to cost you? How much money are you spending? Like, what is the outcome going to be? What are the potential benefits? How will this help you get to your actual goals? What are your alternatives? Like, are there other ways to get this done? Like me, instead of a needle, I'm like, can I do something else? Can I take a pill? Like, what other things are there? How good would it be if the best case scenario did come true? Would that change your life forever? Think about that. What is the worst thing that could happen? You lose your job. You have to start from scratch. I don't know. Like, think about where this is going. How bad would it be if the worst case scenario did come true? Can you handle it? This is something I tell my kids almost every day because they're good kids, but they get in trouble. And when they get in trouble, I don't really get too mad because I always tell them this. If you're going to do something like that, if you're going to take that risk, be sure that you can handle the consequences. I tell them this all the time. And when they do get in trouble, I say, hey, here's your consequence. You knew what you were getting into. So this is the same when we're taking risks. Know your possible outcome. Can you handle it? Yes or no? And how will this decision matter in 5 years? Will it really matter that you spent $300 on some project you were working on? Will that really matter in 5 years? Take those risks. Like, just make sure you're thinking about if you yourself can handle them, okay? And then you just practice taking risks. Do what you gotta do. Like, start small. I don't know. Jump off of a step. I don't even know what to tell you because I don't even know what risks. I'm taking a major risks lately, and just from my personal story, I recently took a major risk. I asked for a promotion, and now, like 2 weeks later, it might be happening. And I didn't see it coming this way. I didn't know where this would lead. Honestly, I'm going to be real honest with you. I didn't even think it through. But in my scenario, I didn't have much to lose. And so putting that out there and seeing where it goes, it was a risk. But this risk might have been worth it. I'll have to update you guys because this is an exciting time for my family and very scary because it will involve change. It will involve transitions and, you know, it's a risk, but it's a calculated risk and it makes you stronger. And that's what I wanted to wrap up with. Like, taking these risks will teach you who you are. It will teach you that you're powerful because you're able to make those decisions for yourself and you're able to see outcomes, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but you're able to see those outcomes and learn from them. That's how you get to know yourself. If you just stay stuck in your bubble all the time, you will never really explore who you really are and what you're going to be good at. Take a risk. Go to a public speaking class. I've joined Toastmasters and I'm about to go to my meeting. I've joined Toastmasters because I wanted to put myself in a position to be prepared to present things. And taking that risk, money-wise, I have to pay for it, the time commitment. I took that risk because I felt I can do it. Like, what do I have to lose again? But even standing in front of people and talking, and having speeches is scary. But I took that risk because I knew it would push me out of my comfort zone and get me to places that I could have never been had I not honed in on that skill. So really think about what taking risk can do for you. Think about, I challenge you, comment below what risks you're thinking about taking. And if you would like, we can navigate them together. Share this video with your friends and ask them what risks they're taking. Like, I'm interested to see what type of risks people are taking these days. These are some things that are helpful. Become aware of your emotions at all times, okay? Separate that from the actual logic behind taking that risk. Think about some risks that are particularly challenging. What's your challenge in risk taking? Recognize irrational thoughts that influence your decision making. And educate yourself about the facts. Like, whatever risk you decide to take, make sure that you know what it all involves. Like, what is it all about? Spend some time calculating each risk before making a decision. And practice taking risks and monitoring the results so you can learn from each risk you take. Start small. This is what you should not do. Don't base your decisions about how you feel about your risk. Remember, we're being logical, not emotional. Avoid the types of risks that stir up the most fear. So let's start small, like I said. Oh, well, don't avoid them. Actually, start small, but the ones that evoke the most fear are probably the ones you should be striving for. Don't allow irrational thoughts to influence your willingness to try something new. Go on that trip by yourself. Go to a class that you've always wanted to go to. Go to a social event by yourself. Go out to eat by yourself. What do you have to lose with that? Think about that. Ignore the facts or not don't ignore facts and make an effort to learn more when you lack the information you need to make the best choice. Don't react impulsively. Take time. Take your time. And don't refuse to take risks that cause discomfort, because this goes back to change. Sometimes you're going to be uncomfortable, guys. It's important for growth. Get used to being uncomfortable. I am extremely uncomfortable right now. My whole entire future is unclear right now. I don't feel good about it. I don't like not knowing what's ahead of me. I'm a control freak, remember? So In this moment, I took a major risk, and now I am dealing with the consequence of being in limbo, not knowing what everything is about to happen, what transitions are occurring. And so I'm uncomfortable, guys. I'm very uncomfortable. But at the same time, I'm proud of myself because I took a risk. I'm proud of myself because I'm willing to go through this discomfort to get to bigger and better things. Think about the bigger picture when you're talking about risk taking. This was a mouthful. I just hope that you guys have been listening, because all of these skills are so important to growth. And it's a challenge, but challenge yourself. Challenge yourself today. Just do it, man. Just do it and share your story, because people like me, I need to hear people's story because it helps me keep pushing. When I see other people that have done it, that have been in my spot and they've done it, I'm like, yes, I can do this. So please share your stories with me, with the world, whatever you're ready for. Contact me if you need any support, if you need me to help you navigate some of these things. I am more than happy to like sit down and talk about some of your goals and how we can move forward with that. I think that wraps it up, guys. So I was a little bit late this week. I had a lot going on. Hope you guys like my shirt. I'm a behavior analyst. For those of you who did not know, I am a behavior analyst, and so I am an expert in behavior. I know how to change behavior, and I can't change yours, but I can provide you with how to change your behavior. That's what I specialize in. I'm also a life coach, so do not hesitate to reach out and share my YouTube channel. Life Changing Mission is doing big things. Tell your friends about us. You never know who might need to hear these things that I've been discussing the last 6 weeks. I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. And yeah, Life Changing Mission, baby. Change your life one step at a time. Out.